Welcome back to Let's Talk Baseball. I am your host, Michael Herrera, joined by my good friend, Jacob Payne. We will be continuing our power rankings. We left off with the Tigers at 27, Royals at 26, and the Rockies at 25. Jacob, how you doing, my man? How's life treating you?
Doing good. Just fresh off of that USA win. Let's go, baby. Taking it to the finals. Very excited to see them either get a rematch with Mexico or get to showdown with Japan. That'll be super, super exciting. This World Baseball Classic has been just absolutely incredible to watch. Trey Turner being the absolute American hero that everybody has dreamed of. um, it's been a lot of fun, man. Baseball is in full swing right now with that WBC, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, it's been a great WBC. I'm really excited. I really hope it is a USA Mexico championship because that would just be awesome. That would make my dreams come true. So that'd be so awesome. So let's continue on with the power rankings. We are at 24 now, and with 24, we are going to go with the Miami Marlins. And we've talked about this team a little bit, whether it's their trade with the Red Sox or their trade with the Twins, whether it's just their general offseason, which has been interesting to say the least. I mean, they've lost some guys. I mean, you lose guys like Pablo Lopez, Miguel Rojas, who the studs who have really just kind of carried that team. Not carried, but have really been kind of just strongholds of that team. You lose Eliezer Hernandez, a guy who was looking to break out. Brian Anderson, a guy who was looking to go back to form. Richard Blyer, who has been a nice solid reliever out of the pen for you. And a big time prospect in JJ Bleday, who got some playing time last year. He's gonna get some run in Oakland. Let's see how he does. And who they added, however, they added some guys. They added Luis Arias, your batting champ, hit those 2 home runs in the Venezuela USA game yesterday. He was on fire. Add some bullpen help in JT Chargois, AJ Puck. Bring in some speed, Garrett Hampson. Bring in a prospect, Jacob Amaya. Bring in Gene Segura, Matt Barnes to the bullpen, and then Jose Iglesias and Yuli Gurriel on minor league deals. But Jacob, how you feeling, man? How you feeling about this roster in this division, this evil division?
Yeah. I think for starters, if we're talking about the division that the Marlins are in, it's a brutal division. I know we've touched on this before, but they they really have a tough division that they're going against. And considering that, it's really hard to think of a good reason of why they would go all in to actually start being competitive, at least right now. And I really don't think they have gone all in with the moves that they have made, but interesting moves, to say the least. Like you said, lost some big hitters. Pablo Lopez, obviously, that 1-2 punch with Sandy Alcantara, um, was an outstanding 1-2 punch in your pitching rotation, and now you've lost that guy Miguel Rojas in the trade to the Dodgers. Tough blow. Great defensively. Didn't really find his footing offensively, but definitely made up for it with his defensive ability. Additions, really, really interesting additions to this team. Johnny Cueto, I know we've touched on before, but adding a veteran like that to a young roster is always a great idea. Um, Having one of those older guys in just to be there in the bullpen, in the dugout, so that way these young kids can just feed off of, learn from, um, just kind of pick their brains about the experiences they've had. That's always a plus. Even if Johnny Cueto isn't at his um at the Cy Young caliber that he used to be, um, just the fact that you have somebody there that you can pull off of experience wise, it's a great addition. Luis Arias, like you said, has had an outstanding WBC so far, so we can only guess at what he's going to do this season, but I can only imagine it's going to be nothing short of another 300 season, 25 homers, um, just solid hitting from him. Jacob Amaya, Dodgers prospect. Um, the thing with him, and this has been his biggest hangup, um, as a Dodgers farmhand is the fact that he's not very good offensively. Defensively, great, talented kid, absolutely, no question there. The issue is he hasn't been able to hit. Um, Maybe a change of scenery is what he needs. I don't think he'll be in the show very much this season, if at all. Maybe a couple of games towards the end of the season. Maybe somebody gets injured and he gets called up. But as of right now, I personally don't think he's MLB the show ready. Gene Segura, great addition defensively, offensively. Um, Yuri Gurriel, Jose Iglesias, like these are semi big names. Like it's nothing. It's not like they didn't try and fix the issues that they're having. They did. They attacked their holes. Their biggest issue was bats, and their biggest issue was defense. And that's what I'm seeing in these guys. Yuri Gurriel, Garrett Hampson, great speed there. Gene Segura, like they're working to try and fill their holes. It's just a matter of, do they see themselves being competitive? I personally don't think that they should see themselves competitive, especially in the division they're in. I mean, what are you supposed to do in a division with the Phillies, the Mets, the Braves? I mean, realistically they have no shot at um getting a division title here, but they do have a shot of playing well, playing over 500 ball, and if they manage to do that, make a good case about building up the next 2 years and being able to get that pull and say, hey, free agents, look towards here because we've been playing well and we haven't had that many star players. Why don't you think about coming over here for a few years and see what we could do? So this season I don't see them playing out of their minds, but I can see them playing well and looking forward to the future.
I agree, especially in this very, very evil division where you have the Mets and the Phillies and the Braves, who have been a little bit quiet this offseason, are still going to be the Braves and are still most definitely going to be in the postseason. The Marlins, yes, they made moves, and I'm not saying I don't like their moves because I really do like their moves. They, like you said, they've addressed their holes, especially with the shift being gone. And these are contact hitters, and they got some pop guys. Obviously, they got Avisail Garcia, who they're hoping to have a bounce back year. Same thing with Jorge Soler, Brian De La Cruz, Jazz Chisholm. Kind of their outfielders trying to hold on the power front. But you have a lot of contact hitters, and with this shift ban or the shift restriction, you might be seeing you're gonna see, no matter what, you're most likely gonna see everyone's contact or batting average, sorry, increase by some, whether it's by 10%, whether it's by 20 or 50, who knows. But if you, and the what they lacked last year was these veterans. I mean, you have guys like Jacob Stallings, guys who can show them around, but these are vets. Like, these are old dudes. Yuli Gurriel has been around a long time in Houston. He's gonna be a great piece for them offensively. Jose Iglesias, hey, don't count him out. He just had a plus 300 year in Colorado. Granted, it's Colorado, but at his age to be doing that is still pretty good. Luis Arias, I love that move for them. I know that Pablo Lopez was an ace, but you bring in Johnny Cueto, and again, you never know with pitchers, but he just pulled up and had a really underrated year when the White Sox signed him for a minor league deal. But all things being said, I mean, when you have Joey Wendell as your shortstop, and no like diss to Joey Wendell or anything, but it's not the flashiest lineup. And there is still a lot of questions within this lineup, within this bullpen, within this rotation of, can Sandy put up another good year? Can we count on Johnny Cueto just staying kind of plateauing at that level that he's at? Can we hope for a bounce back year from Jorge Soler, from Avisail Garcia, from even Trevor Rogers in the rotation, who was looking like an ace in this 2021 rookie year and struggled last year? And Jazz Chisholm, anyone moving to a position is always a question. I have no doubt in my mind Jazz Chisholm is going to rock center field, but you never know. It's baseball. And just looking at what they've done, a huge question I have is just, where are you going? Because they've said that they think we can go out and compete for a playoff spot. And maybe all things being considered, if you don't have a great season from a central team, yeah, maybe I could see that. I could see them making it. Maybe I feel like the last wild card spot is their floor or is their ceiling. Sorry, but I mean, you're looking at a division again. Like we've said, it's going to be a tough division, and I know there's a balanced schedule, which we're going to have to take into the over unders, which I'm about to get into in a minute. But just where they're at, where they've been at, I'm looking at all this, and I'm going to say they improved because they did. If I'm looking at this team last year and I'm looking at this team this year, they've definitely improved offensively, at least. The pitching might have taken a bit, but I like their moves. Their over under is at 70. Their over under is at 76 games. I really want to say that they can because I feel like they can, but something in my mind is just, I don't know. I love this Marlins team, but something in my mind is making me take this under, and I just feel like we might see the regression of these guys a lot more than you would think. I think some guys are going to hold their own, but it's Miami, not been a hitter friendly ballpark for the past few years, but never say never.
Yeah, I think I know where you're coming from picking the under, and I might just follow you up on that because I think the big issue, the glaring issue that Marlins have yet to address is the pitching. It's the depth at the pitching level. It's not what you want to see, especially with an ace like Sandy Alcantara, when he feels like he has to absolutely backpack the team and pitch 9 innings and pitch 120 pitches to get a win, or pitch 9 innings and pitch a shutout and get a loss. And in the ninth inning by giving up a run. Like it, I I don't know that the Marlins have made enough additions to convince me that they're a team that's going to play well. Can they? Absolutely. I think this lineup has a lot of ability to, like you said, especially contact hit. But the depth at the starting pitching level, I mean, if Sandy Alcantara gets injured, God forbid he gets injured for any stint in this regular season, if it's over a few weeks, that is going to be an absolutely devastating hit to them. Because the one thing that they were able to count on is Sandy Alcantara coming out and shoving and absolutely dominating a team. It very, very rarely did we see him get lit up this past season, and I think one of the only times was against the Dodgers. Um, and we know what their lineup is like. It's not easy to pitch against their lineup. So I agree. I think it's under. I think it's a good line. I think we're really close, and I think that if they go under, it's not going to be by much. I feel like they can get a good 74, 75 win season. And if they overshoot, great. Good for them, because that means the future's bright if they can overshoot, because if they can prove that they can win with their current roster, if they make any additions in their rotation, in their bullpen, they're the only direction is up. So I agree. I'm going to take the under, but I'm going to stay positive and think that they do have a decent chance at playing well. Do I think they're going to be competitive in the division? No, I don't. And do I think they're going to get a wild card spot? I'll be honest, I don't think that either, because that means that that's going to bank on either the Phillies, the Mets, or the Braves to bottom out and not play well. And we have to consider the NL West when we think of the wild card spots too. Dodgers or Padres. Like if they're both playing well, one of those spots is going to be taken by them. So and you never know with the Central. The Central, you got the Brewers and the Cardinals. If they have a close race by the end of it, they could be eyeing one of those final spots too. So it's tough to say, but I do agree. I agree. I think it's going to be an under season for them.
Yeah, I mean, I like we said, we talked about this a lot because we talked about the Marlins a lot over these past couple episodes, and we both agree that we do like these moves. But again, what can you do right now? If you're in the Central, maybe I could see you guys competing for that spot, but you're not. But you know who is in the Central? Our 23rd ranked team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. And boy, do I like their off season, man. They have done some great things. They brought back the kid, Andrew McCutcheon. Go sell yourself some tickets. That was a big problem for them last year. Nice ballpark. They're bringing G-Man, Carlos Santana, Austin Hedges to kind of round out that catching depth before Henry Davis gets here. Connor Joe, Colorado fan favorite, who's looking to get some time DH, and maybe Harlan Garcia. We don't like him. Mark Mathias from the Rangers. Vinny Velasquez to eat up some innings in the pen, maybe some of the starters. And my guy, Rich Hill, DICK Mountain, coming over here. Who they lost? Not a lot. They do this Ben Gamble, Kevin Newman, Hoy Park, Roberto Perez, and a couple of pitchers, and Zach Thompson and Bryce Wilson. But overall, man, I'm just gonna say it already. Their over under is 67.5. I'm going over because I love this team. Just looking back on where they've been the past few years, and now if you have a lineup, if you have an outfield, let's just say the outfield, you got Brian Reynolds. Again, who knows where he's going to be by the end of the year, but we'll see if they can keep him, can go to a reasonable extension. I hope they do. Brian Reynolds, Andrew McCutcheon, Connor Joe, and Jack Sawinski as your three guys in your DH. That's nasty. Not to mention the likes of O'Neal Cruz and Key Brian Hayes. And they still have David Bednar and guys in the pen who can do it. I think that pitching is going to be their main question of the year. Because it's not that flashy and it's not that great. They are really hoping for a breakout season for Mitch Keller, and I hope he gets it. Because like we said, it's going to show signs of things to come. But I'm taking the over, man, because I love this team and I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. You gotta love young teams, right? Especially when they're out there playing baseball, having fun. This Pirates team is gonna be a fun one to watch, and I really am excited about this addition of Andrew McCutcheon because basically, let me just start off by saying he can do absolutely nothing, and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter one bit because he's not there to have a 40 home run season and get MVP votes and be that guy that he was, um, near the beginning of his career. He is there, and what I think is an absolute genius move by the Pirates, whether it was intended or not, he is there to sell tickets. He is there to bring fans back to the ballpark, and he is going to do that. He's going to do just that, Michael. It's a baseball love story seeing Andrew McCutcheon back in the black and yellow. It's like seeing Albert Pujols go back to the Cardinals. It's like seeing Ichiro Suzuki go back to the Mariners. It's what you dream of seeing. Like there are some guys that you just feel like it's only right to see them end in these certain franchises, and him ending at the Pirates would be that absolute, perfect ending to the story. Um, it really is like that, and so and moreover on that, backing off of what I was saying, he could do absolutely nothing in the season, and what he brings to the team is way more valuable than him hitting 40 home runs. He is bringing experience. He is bringing a veteran level like you've got no other than like Rich Hill, which another great acquisition for them for a young team. Um, it's so I can't imagine what that clubhouse is going to be like getting Andrew McCutcheon back in there. It's going to be a fun clubhouse because you've got the mix of those older veterans, G-Man Choi, Andrew McCutcheon, uh, and you've got these group of young kids just fire under their ass, ready to go. They just want to have fun and play baseball. You can see that from Key Brian Hayes. You can see that from O'Neal Cruz. You can see that from Brian Reynolds, even though he has had his issues with the Pirates. Um, there's no doubt that he wants to be playing baseball and enjoying it. And so that's great mix. That's what you want to see. Um, so eh, power to the Pirates, man. I hope they start selling out their stadium again because simply just to see Andrew McCutcheon in the black and yellow again. That's I can't wait. I can't wait to see the first game with him back on the field again. And like I had touched on, Rich Hill, great acquisition. Like, is he the pitcher that he used to be? No, no, he's not. But again, same thing that we were talking about with Johnny Cueto and the Marlins. It's that veteran edge that you can bring, that you can add, where all these young pitchers can go up to him and say, "Hey, can I just pick your brain on like how do you attack this guy? What would you do in this scenario?" Because he's been there, he's lived it. He's Tom Brady of this sport, and I don't mean like the best of the best, but I mean like he's been here forever. This guy has been pitching before some of these kids have been born. Like, so that experience that he brings to the team is absolutely incredible, and so to have that there for all of your pitchers to just pull from and learn from is a really great thing that this Pirates GM is going for. And again, whether it's intended or not, it's a great move, and I can't wait to see where this team is in the next few years because they've got a lot of young talent, and I can't wait until they start to get that experience in there. And so like you were saying earlier, Michael, I'm definitely going with the over on this team. Um, they're in a relatively easy division, a division where you know, granted, you've got the Cardinals and the Brewers who have been competitors the last few years, but I mean, the Pirates, while they may not have what it takes to make a serious playoff run, they have a lot of talent that is untapped potential. And if they can tap into it, and if they can get these kids performing at a high level, they're gonna win some ball games. They're gonna have fun. They're gonna play loose. They're not gonna have any sort of stress or like weight hanging over them. They're just gonna have fun and play baseball and win some ball games. So I agree. I think it's gonna be over. I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be right around that 67, 68, maybe get up to 70 wins. Um, but conservatively, I think it's gonna be over.
I agree. And as we're getting into some of these more teams up here with the little spoiler, but some of the Twins, like your likes of the Twins, the Red Sox, these guys, they're gonna fight for something. They're fighting. They have this pressure on themselves to make these playoffs. And the Pirates, they know where they're at. They know they're not gonna make the most serious run for a wild card. And I think that they're okay with that. And like you said, we're gonna see a very lively ball club from this team, and I'm excited for them to just go out. And I really hope we can see the likes of JT Brubaker and Mitch Keller finally have some breakout season. And going on to the 22nd ranked team in our power rankings, the Minnesota Twins. And boy, have they had an off season. They've lost some guys. Michael Fulmer, how's your former 2017 Rookie of the Year? Gary Sanchez, as we're recording this, he's still unsigned. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know if he's even going to play. Billy Hamilton goes to the White Sox. Gio Urshela obviously went to the Angels. Chris Archer still unsigned. Miguel Sano still unsigned. And of course, your batting champion, Luis Arias. However, their acquisitions this offseason have been A plus tier from Kyle Farmer, who can still put up some decent numbers for you to give you some a bench bat. From Christian Vasquez, a very good vet catcher. Had a pretty nice year offensively last year, but is going to bring it with that defense. You have Michael A. Taylor, another defensive stud. Same thing like Christian Vasquez. You're not gonna get a great bat out of him. But hey, if that means you can put Buxton at DH and keep him healthy for 162, you gotta love that. Gotta love my guy Joey Gallo. Pico de Gallo, he is my guy. I'm really hoping for a bounce back season from him. Obviously Pablo Lopez too, and of course the big bad wolf, Carlos Correa, the cheater. I'm sorry, no, I had to say it real quick. But it's been a great offseason for them. I had to say. I mean, you would if Correa if Correa left, this would have been a whole different offseason, and I probably most definitely most 100% without like any doubt taking the under. but now I'm not so sure from looking at this roster. And let me hear your thoughts, because obviously these moves aren't A+, like we said, but if you look at them together and how they really shaped the team this year, they're A+.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too much into the Twins because I know we have touched on the Twins quite a bit already in our past episodes, so I'm going to keep this nice, sweet and short. Um, the more I look at this Twins losses and gains, I'm really starting to come around and get behind this Twins lineup. And like you said, I think it started with the fact that Carlos Correa, if he doesn't get re-signed by the Twins, things change up. This offseason does not go the way that it ended up playing out, right? But now that they did get Carlos Correa and they started making some big acquisitions, Christian Vasquez, Michael A. Taylor, Pablo Lopez, those are great acquisitions, man. Don't sleep on those ads. Those are great additions to the team. And so I think overall this was a big win for the Twins. The question is how far can they keep going? How how competitive can they be this year, and then what can they do next year to get better if they want to stay competitive? Um, what did you say the over or under was for this team?
For this team, the over-under is pretty high. Our first positive over-under at 82.5.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna take the under, but here's why. I am not convinced that this team is going to stay healthy. We've got a lot of glass cannons on this team. We've got Carlos Correa. We've got Joey Gallo. We've got Byron Buxton. We've got guys who have proven that they can't stay healthy for 162. If they do, sure, they've got a great chance of going positive. They're in a not so tough division. Less games against them this year, but in general, you got a lot of games where ideally you'll be playing some not so great teams. So, do they have potential of going over? Absolutely, absolutely they do. Do they have potential at making some waves at the trade deadline? Yeah, I think they can. I think it'll cost them a lot in their prospect uh bag if they do end up wanting to go for somebody big. But it really depends on where they are in the season. If they're 500 ball at the trade deadline, I don't think they go big. If they're over 500 ball, I think they might swing big as much as they can. If they're under, they're definitely not going big. Um, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna pick the under and not by a lot. I think it'll probably be like a high 70 win season, very close to 800 ball, maybe even 800, like right on the dot, 82 or 81. Um, but I'm gonna take the under.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I mean, I like this team. They won 78 games last year, and I think 78, 79 is a good spot where I'd put them right now. I just don't think in their state that they are truly ready for an 80, 82 and above win season. Because granted, you are banking on the White Sox also regressing, and you are banking on a lot of, like we're gonna say with a lot of these teams who are kind of on the fence, you're banking on a lot of comeback years. You are obviously hugely banking on Joey Gallo finding it in Minnesota. You are banking it on Jose Miranda to finally take the reins at first base, for Correa to stay healthy, for Buxton to stay healthy, and if you look up and down this lineup, up and down this rotation, up and down this bullpen, there's too many guys that you have to bank on to stay healthy or to stay with good stats, and I just don't think that's great for any team. So that's why I'm also taking the conservative under, but you never know, because I do think the Twins have a chance of surprising us, but it's just again, can these guys perform? Can these guys stay healthy? And Jacobs. We're gonna have some fun with this next team, with our 21st ranked team. Of speaking of can guys perform, we are moving it back out to the west to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Who they lost? They lost some kind of vet arms. Their only main kind of superstar name, who they lost was Michael Lorenzen. He goes to the Tigers. Archie Bradley still unsigned. Chris Suzuki, of course, retired. Matt Duffy, I think, is unsigned. Tuki Toussaint went to the Guardians, but they added. This is the first off season where I can successfully say for the Angels, I like their moves. But we're gonna get into auction line spoil it. But their moves are Siler Anderson, my guy who got some Cy Young votes last year. He was amazing. Hunter Renfroe, I think, is a really underrated move for them. He's been putting up some numbers. Of course, Gio Urshela from the Rangers, Brandon Drury. They're bringing some bullpen help in Matt Moore, Carlos Estevez, and the most fun guy in baseball, Brett Phillips, to try and round out that depth, and also Jake the Rake Lamb from the Dodgers on a minor league deal. This team, as we've talked about them before, has been nothing short of a huge, huge disappointment. It's Shohei Ohtani walk year. Artie Moreno did not leave. He's here to stay. With all that, what do you think of this team, and what can we truly expect from them in 2023?
Michael, I don't have enough time to tell you about my countless disappointments coming from the Angels, man. I don't know what to tell you about the Angels. This is one of those teams that just boils my blood. The Angels, the Rockies, um, it's so irritating watching somebody mismanage a baseball team as badly as you could possibly do it. Now, granted, it's not all the GM's fault. There has been plenty of just utter disappointments coming in from the Angels roster as is. The past few years, they have built up some great rosters. In fact, last year I think was truly a year where I thought, wow, these Angels are going to soar. These Angels have, at the beginning of the season, I'm telling you right now, I was saying that these Angels were going to give the Astros a big competition. At bare minimum, big competition. And they did what, Michael? They shit the bed. They absolutely just fell straight on the floor after starting a 100-meter race. Just nothing. Nothing going for them. It's like they're cursed. I mean, it's ridiculous. The ability to build up such a good roster with two of the best baseball players we have ever seen to play the game in Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. And what does Mike Trout have to show for it? 3 postseason games. 3. How long has he been with the Angels? Since like 2014? 3 postseason games. Best player in baseball for that entire period. Couldn't show up for the postseason because he literally couldn't. It's mind-boggling. And at some point with managing a baseball team, you have to make a decision. Do I put all my chips into the center and go all in, or do I save up, rebuild, look to better seas in the future? Um, but we really haven't gotten either of those. And I'll be honest, I think they kind of went all in last season, but what did that get them? Nothing. I don't even think they were over 500 last year. I could probably check real quick, but it's just
Yeah, they were. I think their record last year was 73 and 89.
that's embarrassing, Michael. They started out so well too. They started
Uh,
out so well. After like 25 games, they were way above 500, and I was like, "Whoa, look at these Angels. Maybe I was right." And then nothing. And then absolutely nothing, man. It's beyond frustrating. And yeah, they've made some great acquisitions. Absolutely. Tyler Anderson, career year last year with the Dodgers. All-star made the All-Stars. If he had a healthy, good season at the back end of that season, he had one of the better cases for Cy Young. Um, and you have Hunter Renfroe, Gio Urshela, Brandon Drury, Carlos Estevez, Jake Lamb, Brett Phillips. All of those names are household names. all of those names are people that jump off that list and say, "Hey, look at me. I can make a difference." Um, they're all great acquisitions. They're great depth. Some of those are great hitters, which is exactly what they've needed, right? Good acquisitions to their starting pitching. I don't think they really targeted their bullpen, which might still be an issue, but you can only do so much. I don't know if they can be competitive because we've seen this time and time again of rosters where we can believe that they can do something and they just don't. And
Yeah.
it's really just I mean, I would be depressed if I was an Angels fan, man. Seeing Artie Moreno not sell the team, like that would have killed my entire offseason. That alone. I wouldn't even care who they would add.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter to me because all that matters to making a good team here is getting new money in, getting new decisions in, maybe changing the coaching staff. Like something's got to change, man. You've got two of the best players in baseball surrounded by a pretty decent roster and you can't do anything with it. I there's no recovering from that. It's simple as that. There's
Yeah.
no shining light. There's nothing that I can say at least they did that right. And I know we have them relatively high. Personally, if I were to rank them, I would rank them a little bit lower just off of my gut because of what we've seen from them previously. But on paper, if I'm just judging their roster on paper, I think 21's a fair spot for them because they haven't proven that they've been able to win, but their additions and their roster form a pretty solid roster.
Yeah. But the over under, another high over under at 81.5. To say mine really quickly, I'm going under because I just don't think they're gonna be in a spot to perform as well as many people think they are. I think our next team that we're gonna be talking about next episode because we're running out of time is definitely above them in the division and above them just overall. And I'm going with the under. Jacob, how about you?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be an under year for the Angels, absolutely.
Yeah. Shohei, nice seeing you in Anaheim. Gonna be so glad to see you in the blue and white next year. Hope you get used to that. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. But yeah, that will be the end of our video. Thank you guys for joining. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit a like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Little plug there. But yeah, we are trying to finish our power rankings by hopefully the next Monday, so that way we can get into our award picks. And I know that's going to be an interesting topic for debate. But thank you for joining. I'm Mike Carrera, joined by my good friend Jacob Payne, and we will see you next time.